You know what was funny about your Trump? I already
Tell
saw
me.
it online. It's the wind up.
Oh, the wind. Yeah, he has the, once he gets going, he's like a little wind-up doll. He's like, we're going to win so big. But we're going to win so big. We're gonna win. You know, and he's like, they don't understand how big. They asked me, how big are we going to win? We're going to win all the big, you know? Like the movie Tom Hanks, Big. That's how well we're going to do, you know?
He's sort of being like a stand-up in those moments, finding,
Yeah.
living in the moment.
Absolutely.
Really, right?
And he has a speech, but he'll do I have a joke about him being the best crowd work comedian right now. It's like him, then Matt Rife, you know? It's like...
Guys, welcome back to the All Good Things podcast. Our guest today is Jonathan Kite. The producer here is Kita. Also, Jonathan, thank you for being here. A hilarious comic. I've seen you so many times inside the Bourbon Room. I've seen you at Flappers. Yeah, thank you for being here. You're a master impressionist.
Thanks, man.
Is it hard being an impressionist? Have you always been an impressionist?
I didn't. They were doing a... I think I made fun of my teachers and stuff when I was growing up.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Mr. Shutt, who's I think probably dead now. But when he would be in class, I would when he was
Mr.
sick.
Shutt.
Yeah, Robert Shutt. He was a real Snape.
You can't
energy.
You can't make up like names like that.
Dude,
like,
he was
if I
definitely...
were to sit and write that, people are like, what? Mr. Shutt?
We need a more relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
He was definitely Slytherin, big Snape energy, and I would do an impression of him. For the class when he teach the class, and he was such a weird sort of guy. So I made fun of. I mean, I did impressions growing up like that.
Do it now?
I wanted. He had sort of like a face that had no sense of humor. I mean, it was like all right. Snape is sort of up here, you know, Mr. Potter, but he sort of had his face was like a beanbag chair that sort of like sat into himself. He was like an adult Build-A-Bear. Like he was a very burly kind of guy, and he I think he wasn't there to necessarily crush people's souls. That was just like a perk of the job.
Yeah.
And he hated every minute of it. Like I feel like, you know, he had all these degrees on the wall, and you think like, why are you here? Like, what did you want to do? Like, I wanted to just hug him. And I remember we had this assignment, and some people, like, if they're funny, maybe writers, or they're funny performers, or maybe they're funny on stage, but there's a lot of variety, you know? And he made us write, true story, Farewell to Arms by Hemingway, a parody. Everybody in the English class had to write a parody of this like great American novel. And if it wasn't funny, he failed you and then just wrote not funny.
Really?
I swear. So this guy was just getting his jollies off of stealing the souls of children.
But that's kind of cool that he...
Wait, what year was this?
God, 1942. I mean, it was probably...
No, like what year of your...
No, I know. It was
like
God.
4th grade, 5th grade?
It was, no, this was high school.
Oh. Okay.
But that's kind of cool that he gave you that task, and maybe it led you down the road of comedy.
Here's the truth.
Right?
I liked him.
Yeah.
I actually think that that's like sort of steel sharpens steel, and I think I got a passing grade or whatever on it, or he was like laughed at this, he would circle. Yeah. But it, you know, for me, I think maybe like people were too soft in certain areas. And so I think like probably the best people that I had were probably the toughest professors, like even at university.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember the most crushing. I went to conservatory at university, so you had to audition every 2 years.
In Chicago, right?
Illinois, but Champaign-Urbana in the middle, you know, the state. And this guy said to me, shout out Robert Anderson, he's the best. He was like, you'll work your whole life, but you'll never be any good. And I remember like, what the fuck? Like, it was like that movie Smile, where you're just like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, it took me over. And he goes, because what you do so well, he goes, you don't listen. And what you do well enough where people will hire you for it because it's a skill set that it's hard to achieve and do. So you'll get hired for that.
Sure, you're a natural comedic talent.
But he's like, you'll never be any good because you can't listen to the, and I remember that stuck with me obviously till this podcast.
Did you work on that? Did you work on listening? You did.
And I remember thinking like that, but that note really dug deep because it was true.
Right.
It's like a troll online, right? Like people probably say, you know, I mean, like they say the dumbest stuff and you think like, yeah, but it doesn't matter because if you don't believe it about yourself. Yeah. But when he said that, it was like a Kill Bill moment of like, And so I remember thinking like, shit, man, he's right.
What's acting school like? Do you sit around and like walk in circles and
Yeah,
scream and pretend that you're like painting the wall and mime? And
I never had
all
that until I got here. When I don't know when you moved here. I just went to go see what acting classes were like.
Sure, yeah, I did too.
And they were every punchline that people think about Hollywood. It was just like these people who were like, everybody be an animal. True story. This woman, they were doing a scene from a famous movie. I can't remember what it was. It was a rape courtroom scene.
Oh my God.
And the woman, like it was like a showcase, and she like went up into the girl's face in front of all of us, and she was just like, "You're not really there." And she's like, "You were raped. You were raped." And she just started shouting in this woman's face. And then she's like, "Again." And I remember thinking like, I got to get the fuck out of this class.
Did you ever take any clown class?
I didn't, but a buddy of mine, Chad, I just reached out to, who's doing this clowning like class now through a friend. I think I'm going to do it.
Wait, Chad the clown?
Yeah.
Oh, he's the first time I saw him, he was the first in a lineup, and he came out. I was eating a hamburger.
Yeah.
It was at the El Cid,
Yeah.
and I just gotten a hamburger. It was Emma Estrada's show.
Okay.
And so he was the first act. I didn't know he was a clown. He comes out completely fucking naked.
Oh wow. At LC.
With a prosthetic cock. Like that's huge.
This is pre-Harvey Weinstein, I'm sure.
No.
Oh,
this is
okay.
like in the pandemic.
Mid-trial.
This is last week.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Mid-trial.
No. It gets worse. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, holy shit, this is the first thing. And I'm the oldest person in the room. It's like nothing but Gen Zs and millennials.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if they're going to get this. And then I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden, he had a contraption where it peed water, and he's fucking spraying everybody. His fake jizz is going on my fucking burger. I'm like,
Was it mayonnaise?
no, it was water,
Oh,
but it was like it was so disgusting and insane. I
And
was
the
like,
food
this
at El
is
Cid
amazing,
already not
but,
great. Yeah.
No. But it could have used it. It's a little
But
dry.
I'm looking at
It's a Yelp review.
It
Jay and I
wasn't.
said
It was
many
a dry
times.
burger, and I saw the people. I was getting the temperature of the room because it was a really young crowd, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like, are they into this? Like, what?" Oh, it's weird. Anyway,
Clowning is so. I've done some commedia dell'arte, which is like clowning stuff, plays from Italy in the 1700s. But this is different. It's like
well, he's extreme. He's got an extreme.
I've known him for like 15 years. And so, but I didn't know he was doing this. And then someone brought it up and said, have you ever done something with him? And I looked it up, knowing him and not knowing how incredible he was at this and how, so I'm going to try it.
Do you know David Bridell?
No.
He has the clown school. It's in Atwater. I've taken a couple classes, and it
And what
is
do you
the
do in the
most
class?
fucking difficult.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So when I joined
You have
it,
to like
I
make
thought,
people laugh without talking, right?
well, so he has
Basically.
3 intro classes.
Okay.
And I'm like, and I was kind of depressed, pandemic. And I was like, well, maybe I'll go in there and have fun. Like they'll have boxes of clown noses and feet and like there'll be some cute girls in there. You know what I mean?
You think it's a photo booth at a wedding?
It was, it was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It was like,
well, improv class is hard.
it was nothing but
Oh,
like,
dude.
no, but this
Never
was,
mind.
Adding,
now you're clowning.
a level.
Yeah.
we didn't wear a nose until the last class. It was every week. It was 4 hours of
4 hours.
4 hours per class. And it's exercise after exercise after exercise of you being in a compromising thing where you're bearing everything. I mean, I was like crying in my first class,
Oh wow.
but you bond hardcore with the other people.
Right.
And it's probably the best thing I've ever done,
You
to be
know.
honest with you.
Clowns.
Yeah.
Your last one is how many can you fit in a Volkswagen Beetle?
I don't know how many.
No, that's the clown car. That's your
Oh,
final.
Yeah.
That's your.
Clown car.
Oh, you haven't
That's
taken
your
that class
final?
yet? You haven't taken that class yet? I guess I am ahead of you. No, it's all very interesting, and it's always been sort of popular, but it's cool that there are these, because everybody, by the way, that I've talked to who's had a experience in some capacity with it has left there being like, it changed my life.
Yeah.
And it's
Totally.
always you commit. I was doing stand-up on a show, and Chad and I have a mutual friend, and she actually brought it up to me and was like, oh, you should do this. She said it was just an unbelievable experience.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I'm going to do it.
When you do impressions, I once saw Phil Hartman say this,
Yeah.
who's a great impressionist.
Best.
And he said, I saw him say this thing, and he's like, there's some people I can do.
Yeah.
He's like, and it's all about tone and
Totally.
register. Like when I listen to your voice right now, talking to you,
Yeah.
your tone, you do a great Vince Vaughn.
Oh, thanks.
But your real voice is in that same tone.
You know, my real voice is.
Yes.
Yeah. There's certain people.
It's a voice that's down a little,
It's,
right?
It's right back there.
Yeah.
It's right back there.
It's low and booming.
So for whatever reason, and I used to be able to do certain people. And it's sort of, if you can figure it out, because like you can unlock certain things, but I do think that the human voice in most people has limitations. Like I can't do Gilbert Godfrey anymore.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do him, but I can still
so
do
funny.
very high impressions.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, where he sat in my voice, I could do him. I auditioned to do him for 30 Rock. And I remember I could do it. And then years later, I was like, oh, let me see if I can do a bit out of it. And I just couldn't do it.
Oh, wow. As you got older, you couldn't do it. My son had that. When he was like 16, he recorded a really good song with like a very high notes.
Yeah.
And then now when he goes to do it on stage, his voice is different.
Yeah, I think part of it is I have bad allergies, and I was telling you off mic. Like my allergies when they kick in.
You're so much like me, like Jewish allergies.
Dude, it's so true though. But I'm allergic. I was saying off mic. My apartment has black mold, and I definitely think that's affecting me. And so I'm like, I can feel it. So I'm like, now all of my impressions, they better be like Mr. Potato Head. Or like, because it feels like everything is like right here in my face, and so I have to like nasal spray, and it's crazy. I never had allergies my whole life.
Yeah, and don't they? Your body changes like every 7 years.
It does,
so
yeah.
it'll go away at some point.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
So in 7 years, come see me. I'm gonna crush when I'm through this 7-year itch.
You've been on so many TV shows. What's the state of? You've done Two Broke Girls, American Dad, Family Guy.
Yeah.
What's the state of LA? This is all I get on my TikTok feed now is there's no jobs.
I know.
It's dying, blah, blah, blah. There's no movies. You're in the trenches. Tell us.
Well, I'm here, aren't I? You're here. We're standing.
Are you planning on leaving?
I'm not. You know, I had spent a lot of time in Austin during the pandemic.
Oh, great.
Doing stand-up and sort of being out there. I mean, it's always going to be... I don't want to say it's bad, but it's like it's you can't see it, but there's a brush fire happening right there. And we're going down with the ship. That's how committed Jason is. I didn't sign up for this, but we're here and the door's locked. But I think that it's if you're good, you're good. And I think people are still auditioning. They say like it's down by 1%, but it's like, I think if you want to be somewhere, you want to be there. And if you don't want to be here, you'll think of excuses of why to leave.
Right.
Because it's like all these jobs are going, by the way, a lot of jobs have been shooting in Canada forever. Right. People are like, can you believe Vancouver? I'm like, go look at its track record. Vancouver has always been because of the tax break. Mm-hmm. But you're not moving to Vancouver.
Right.
Like, so my thing is they're building a bunch of studios in Vegas, which is very close to here, New Mexico, Warner Brothers and Netflix. Yep. It's like, if you want to live in Las Vegas, then go move to Las Vegas and then be able to shoot here and in the middle of those things. Mm-hmm. I think there's a bigger case now for people to be here because I think we're going to be able to compete better with Atlanta because we're going to have Vegas and because we're going to have New Mexico. Okay. And we're closer to Vancouver.
Wait, what do you mean compete with Atlanta?
Atlanta's such a big city and they're doing so many movies, Marvel, Tyler Perry, all these great things. And so that really became a hub for a lot of film and television. Mm-hmm. And it sort of became very competitive. It's still very competitive, but I think that it's balancing out. I mean, who's to say, like, we're coming out of a strike year? Who knows? If they start making, which they're doing a lot of sitcoms now, if they start making sitcoms that are a hit here now, they'll make more of them here.
Right.
It's like, you just never know. I think go where you want to live.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to live in Ohio, go move to Ohio. Yeah. Taylor Swift lives in Rhode Island. If you're a Swiftie, go hang out. It's like live where you want to live, and the capabilities of cameras and whatnot. If they like you and if you're good enough, they'll make it work for you. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Speaking of sitcoms, have you guys seen Kristen Bell's new sitcom?
Yeah, we watched it.
Nobody
wants this.
Yeah, nobody wants this. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I auditioned for it.
You did?
For the part of the brother. I heard it's very good.
Oh, the brother was good. Yeah.
It
was a good part.
Very good part.
Yeah.
It was very well written. Like sometimes like with a sitcom, especially, I don't know how you are, but you'll be like, oh, they'll like work it around you. But sometimes you like read a sitcom and you're just like, it's on the page. These people have it.
Yeah.
And that was a very, very well written like audition sites.
Is that guy, is he a comedian?
I know he's an actor. He was on Veep.
Adam Brody? Oh, you mean the brother?
The brother.
He was on Veep. I don't know.
Yeah, he was on Veep.
I was wondering that last night when I was watching it. He's so funny. He's a funny dude.
It's good. I think there'll be more. I think people were so starved for something like that. And you also get like, get the older people that will watch something like that.
And Kristen Bell's so great.
Kristen Bell's great.
But Adam Brody coming back, revitalizing.
Yeah. Adam Brody coming back in a comedy or in that kind of
I think
snappy
people
role.
want that.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. It's starved for that because I think there was a lot of, I'm sure in comedy, it's like, is this funny? Can we say this? Will we lose sponsorship? But the good thing about Netflix is it's like, you're already there.
Yeah.
You're not going to cancel your subscription if you don't like that show.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to take swings on those types of things. So I've heard it's very good though.
You do Trump and you do Obama.
Yeah.
Can you do either of those?
Yeah. You know what? You know
what was funny about your Trump? I already saw it online. It's the wind up.
Oh, the wind. Yeah. Once he gets going, he's like a little wind up doll because he doesn't know. He gets out there. He sort of, he preps like a maestro.
Yeah.
He like gets out there. He surveys what's going on. He has a moment and then he just goes, and the symphony is off, he's ready to go. And he keeps talking and he never stops talking, he just keeps rolling along, I had to watch him for, they asked me, I auditioned for something and they were like, we love your Trump. Can you try to learn him from a rally? And I watched this Minnesota rally like 100 times. And I'm like, he truly is like, once he sees a green light, like he gets out there, whereas some people there's like ebb and flow, but for him, I think he's just sort of like go.
Right.
And
he's sort of being like a stand-up in those moments, living in the moment.
Absolutely.
Really, right?
And he has a speech, but he'll do I have a joke about him being the best crowd work comedian right now. It's like him, then Matt Rife, It's like that he's like out there because when he goes off the teleprompter, that's my favorite part because he'll just start repeating himself and he'll do asides. Like there's no one standing here, but he'll be like looking out to the audience. And so he's like, we're going to win so big, but we're going to win so big. And he's like, they don't understand how big. They asked me, how big are we going to win? We're going to win all the big, like the movie Tom Hanks Big. That's how well we're going to do, And then he'll go back to it. And I think there's like a real fun in playing him. And I like Obama because, Obama, he was just so cool. He was like, he was just, there was like Obama could talk very slowly because you believed everything that he was saying. And even his detractors, he had critics in Rush Limbaugh who did not like him one bit. He said, the man reads a teleprompter better than anyone I've ever seen in my life. And when you can talk that slow and sort of and that deliberate, I'm like, because people are really interested in what you're saying.
Yeah, he lulls you
there's
into what he's
such
saying.
A charisma. Mm-hmm. Whereas like with, I wish like as a comic, I'm probably more like Trump than I am Obama. Mm-hmm. Like I wish, like Anthony Jeselnik is like an Obama. Mm-hmm. There's like a real... People are sort of hanging on his words,
That's really good. An Anthony Jeselnik impression. Wow.
And he's like, he doesn't.
I've never seen that.
Change his expression.
Yeah.
Sort of, but with Trump, I'm probably like a little bit like that on stage, where I have what I'm going to say, but I'm going to go off and sort of be like,
right.
So I think that was his rhythms were sort of like easier for me to learn than someone like Obama, who I had to be like, it has to make sense because he, even in those pauses, like the thing with Joe Biden, when he was pausing, he was losing everybody. So Joe Biden was just like, come on, folks, I'm serious. People were like, serious about what? Like they were ahead of him. Yeah. Whereas Obama, he was like a drummer. He was right in the pocket. Mm. And so I think like there's a musicality when you're learning impressions.
That's so cool.
And I think whereas like, Trump is like Animal on the drums. He's just like, I'm over here and then I'm over here and boom, boom, bang. Boom, boom, bang is what we're going to do. Okay. Believe me. Excuse me. Very good here, you know.
Did you ever audition for SNL?
I sent in a tape and I got.
Because you do. I mean, that's like, your impressions are fucking
Oh,
A1.
thanks, man. Thank you. I sent in a tape when I was really young, and then I sent in a tape after Two Broke Girls.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, after Kenan Thompson, who had been on like All That and Good Burger and everything,
Yeah.
it seemed like I got very good feedback. I actually showcased, and I had it was great. It was super fun. But I kind of got the opinion of that, like, I'm already known for this other thing. And Two Broke Girls was so big.
Yeah.
And even at the time I auditioned, I'm like, he's not going to take. I think like maybe the audience will disagree with me, but he takes a lot of unknown people.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
So he can sort of, there's like a freshness in introducing them.
Yeah. He also, I worked there as a assistant, and he also.
Oh, cool. I didn't know
And I
that.
auditioned too, and I didn't get it. I auditioned the same year Fallon auditioned, and I auditioned on the stage. And he has archetypes that he fills.
For sure.
So you have your Sandler, Fallon, Sandberg, cute.
Yeah.
You have your Dan Aykroyd, Bill Hader.
So that's the part I think
That's your part.
And Phil Hartman.
And Phil Hartman.
Like
utility man.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think when I auditioned, I did a lot of like stepdad characters and news anchors.
Yeah.
And I think that really that felt right for me. But I also had a bunch of characters that, looking back on it, I'm like, this is a great character, but like to do in an SNL audition with no like props or anything, like I did an internet troll.
Yeah.
Who would go on Weekend Update and just troll people, but he was an actual
troll, yeah.
And I did him under the bridge, doing rhymes about like Danny Masterson raping people, and about like P. Diddy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, I'm sure this is a good concept, but looking back on it, like I enjoy it in the tape, but I'm not sure it was executed well for an audition. Because I think when you look at the greats, when you look at Will Ferrell, Jimmy Fallon, you get it immediately. So for my impressions, I did like Tom Hanks getting kicked in the nuts, and then it was just like, wow, you get it.
Yeah.
Whereas like the characters, you want to know, like Jim Brewer has a great one about New York pigeons.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. And immediately go, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
you get it so fast.
Yeah, that's Fallon's audition. If you ever watch it online, it's like 30 things in like 4 minutes.
And that's what I tried to do.
Here's Seinfeld. Da da da. Here's that's really cool. What did you think about?
Wait, can I ask you, what did you do for your audition?
I was so young and so not ready. I did probably 5 characters and 1 Matthew McConaughey impression because I didn't have impressions.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I had characters that I was doing like around New York that worked. And I did. One of them was like a Jim Morrison lounge singer.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nothing that I could probably come up with now.
Yeah, you know what's funny?
It was tough, and it was awkward. Like I went up there,
but you made it.
Yeah, I went up there and I asked for like a CD player. It was a long time ago, and that was awkward. And I made it out, whatever. But it was something.
It's weird
looking
because
back on it.
You think like what? Also, I'm trying to get better about this in stand up.
Yeah,
that because I was known for a character for so long. I did do a sketch show, by the way. Jamie Foxx did like a New and Living Color.
Yeah.
And I was on
love Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, it was the best. That was the year before Two Broke Girls.
Yeah.
And so we made it to air. It was so fucking fun.
I remember this.
It was amazing.
Is it Fox?
It was on Fox.
Yeah.
And so I learned, to answer your question before, that's why I learned impressions. So my manager's like, they're going to do a New and Living Color, which to me was like the grail. Like I grew up, like I'm the perfect age for that.
Yeah.
And they were like, they're going to take a white guy. They've already said they want like a guy.
Yeah.
So I remember just like literally staying up with my cousin, who's a musician who has a great ear. And I was like, help me. What impressions can I do? What do I look like?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to do like The Rock or Obama. It's like, they're not going to cast me to play a person of color on a. I go, look at me. Who could I do? Who do I sound like? And I did like 11 impressions.
Yeah.
And I wound up getting it.
And you got it.
And it was one of those things where I was like, I know I can do impressions of people in my life. So how can I do them of famous people? And so I just worked on it for like a week. Oh, wow. And then I put it together.
Do you remember which ones you did?
I did Ian McKellen.
Great.
I did Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen. I've seen your Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, thanks, man. I did Rush Limbaugh.
Who was big then?
It was big then. And I needed to do a political impression. And just because I was like, they'll touch on some sort of politics and show them that you're at least aware.
Yeah.
And then I did Vince Vaughn. I did, I think I did Nicolas Cage. I mean, this was so long. I was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I did like 10 or 11. And then I don't even remember any of the characters. Oh, I think I did, one of the characters I did was Elliot from E.T., all grown up.
That's really funny.
Oh, thanks, man. As a drunk at a bar who like couldn't get over ET.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I'd be like, he'd just be at the bar and be like, hey man, do you want me to order you an ET? And then I'm like, I know it's called a scotch and soda, but ET drank it, so we call it ET. And then I was like, okay, and then he like gets kicked out.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you don't want to hear about awesome alien stories? Well, whatever happened to you? Just like that guy. Because my buddy used to be a KJ at this bar deep in the valley.
What's a KJ?
A karaoke DJ.
Oh.
And
KJ.
And it was I don't remember the name of it, but I remember going in there and I was like, it just had that energy of like, you guys ever remember the Love Boat?
Yeah.
No, but like that, him going up to everybody.
Right.
You remember the Love Boat, right? Episode 4?
Right.
Oh, you didn't see the Love Boat?
Right.
Fucking, you want to be an actor? This guy doesn't get it.
Right.
That was a hit, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, so I just did Elliot from E.T.
And how many episodes of that did you make?
It was really weird. We shot a pilot.
Yeah.
With the cast was like amazing. Eric Andre. Kyle Dunnigan. Dana
Great.
DeLorenzo, who went on to do Ash versus the Evil Dead. Eric Ash, who just passed away, but like or a month or so ago, but she was a legend. Nika Williams, who plays Zendaya's mom on Euphoria.
Yeah.
This guy, Rob Stapleton, an incredible stand-up comedian out of New York. Afion Crockett, and me. And then it was weird. They went through like a huge changing of the guard. Because I'm like, for sketch shows, you never know what's funny. Like, you know what I mean? There's famous stories about like NBC being like, you got to fire Adam Sandler because he's not funny. And you're like, dude, the guy's like the funny. I mean, you never know it until you see it. It's so hard to quantify, which is why
that's so cool.
Somebody can't help you with an audition for SNL.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's got to be Jason. They got to look at you and they got to be Jonathan. It's got to be Keita. So we did it. They actually, they re-upped everybody and they only kept me and Afion, which was insane because the people, if you don't know the people that I just named, Eric Andre just won an Emmy for the Eric Andre show. Right. These are legends. Kyle Dunnigan was the funniest guys out there.
Incredible.
And it was, I don't think it had, but also a comedian wrote on Amy Schumer's sketch show. Like, this guy's an unbelievable guy, and they all were everybody worked. It had nothing to do with like my talent or anybody else's. Like, it was just a weird network thing. And then they picked us up for like a season. And then I think they were deciding, and I wasn't under contract, and I auditioned for Two Broke Girls, and we had a party to like watch the preview or the premiere. And I went up to everybody, amazing people. And I was like, I booked a show. Like, I can't, if it comes back for a second season, I can't do it.
Right.
And it was one of those things where they definitely had the talent. Like Carl Jones was executive producing. He did like Black Dynamite and, Young Love, which is on HBO. Like, everybody involved, the writers are incredible. So you never quite know, because I think they want to have such a specific formula, networks, but you just can't quantify what does well with a sketch show.
So what do you think about now? Like, what do you try to do now? Do you still try to audition? Do you try to make your own vehicle on YouTube? Like, what's the move?
I do a lot of stand-up.
Yeah.
And I have sketch ideas with buddies of mine, but they always seem like this is not going to end well. We're going to get canceled. Like, they start off funny, and I think they finish funny, but they definitely finish with a stern letter from my agent being thank you, but it's like Shark Tank. It's going to be a no from me, dog. Is that
a real fear for someone like you who has an agent and you sort of have to like play the game?
So I have a joke now that I'm working on about, it's weird that stand-ups have to say that we're doing stand-up. Like, isn't that weird? Yeah. I go, you're at a comedy club. You can't and that's like my huge chunk, because I'm trying to do an hour. I'm trying to put together my special right now.
Yeah.
And I had a moment where somebody came up to me after a show and was like berating me about one of the jokes.
Oy.
And I was just like, did you think I was like serious?
Yeah.
Like, where do you think you are right now? Why wouldn't you just, okay, maybe you don't like the joke or maybe you disagree with it or maybe, but I'm not out there just like screaming the N-word or like, you know, it's very weird times that we're in. So I feel like if I sort of present a branding, at least for myself, I can get away with a little bit more of that. We're going to start shooting some stuff, my buddies and I, and we have some ideas, but we're going to start not necessarily with softballs, but we're going to see how they play. And then I think we're going to ramp up to the stuff we really want to shoot.
Yeah. Did you guys notice, I think this is so interesting. Every year they do like a Trump, it's called like the Al Smith dinner.
They just did it.
They just did it last night. I think Gaffigan posted about it, whatever.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And I think it's so interesting that Kamala and Trump are in the same room.
She didn't go.
Oh, she didn't go?
She wasn't there.
Because one year Hillary Clinton and Trump were definitely there.
It's like the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Remember, Trump didn't go to any of those when he was president.
So Kamala didn't go last night?
She didn't go.
Oh.
She was out campaigning, yeah.
Which was very weird. But we, you know,
I've definitely seen a clip of like Hillary doing jokes to Trump like weeks before the election.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Well,
what is that? What do you think that's like to like you walk in, this person's talking shit about you for months.
And you're seeing them.
And then now you're going to do jokes about them. Like, what do you think that's like? On what level do you think they take it? Do you think they're just like, yeah, that's the game. It's politics. I don't take it personally. And
I think Trump.
What do you think?
Oh, you know, Trump takes it personally.
Dude, Trump is like Michael Jordan from The Last Dance. And he's like, and that's when I took it personally. Like,
yeah.
You're like, what? The Saved by the Bell reboot?
Well, you saw him during that Obama. Remember that one correspondence today?
Well, that's
with
supposedly
Obama?
what struck Trump to run is Obama starts roasting him with jokes written, really good jokes, and Trump's in the audience.
Isn't Seth Meyers?
It was probably Seth Meyers. Maybe it was
roasting him. It was at White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah. It was Seth Meyers first, and then Obama eviscerates Trump. And there was an article I read where they key in and they say, this is the moment where Trump says, I'm going to run and I'm going to fucking get back at you and blah, blah, blah.
I'll tell you a crazy thing for this dinner, right?
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, whose name I will not give, was asked to write Punch Up for Trump. For real. Because it's not like, here's the thing, that's a no-win situation, right? It's like you go to this dinner where you're being made fun of, like Jim Gaffigan, who's one of the funniest people alive, is seemingly bombing in a room full of people that have no sense of humor about themselves to the public. Maybe amongst friends and family they do, but they view it as a weakness. Like there's that like Tim Waltz has that great quote about Trump where he's like, you've never seen him laugh. And it's like, because there's something about it, which is a little, maybe he thinks it's like weakness, but I think it's weird that I think it doesn't make him seem as human.
Yeah.
And so I think because they keep cutting to him when they're making jokes and he's just like,
oh, and that correspondent, he was pissed. It was insane.
Yeah, he was pissed at that one.
And so but I think there's something about that, but the one that Jim was hosting, it's like, man, you could have heard a mouse fart in that room on some of those jokes.
Yeah.
And they're all facing forward.
Yeah. It's almost like the Oscars. Remember when Letterman did the Oscars?
Oh yeah.
It was like really, I thought it was really good. But he was just.
Well, people, they don't have
That's tough for him.
Or when Ricky Gervais does the Golden Globes.
That one seems to be.
It's getting better, but
looser.
The first one. Because they're drunk.
Yeah.
Because they're drunk on the Golden Globes. But Trump doesn't drink.
Right.
I mean, I think that it's I think that it's sort of better when politicians are able to laugh at themselves. I think it makes them seem more human. It's certainly better for comedy. Whereas like when they don't laugh, then their fans don't laugh, and then their supporters don't laugh. I got not a screaming argument because I had a microphone, but she didn't. In Buffalo, New York, with this woman who was screaming at me in the
comedy club.
Yeah.
About what?
I've been to that club.
Yeah.
What is
Helium?
It? Helium, yeah.
By the way, I love Helium.
It's not bad. It's good, actually.
I love, and the people remind me from Chicago. Yeah. So they remind me, it's very cold weather people, I like those people very much.
Yeah. But they're excited that you made the trek to Buffalo.
Dude, I'm happy to be there. And this woman is
clean city.
Is screaming her face off. Like she can only see a ghost that none of else can see. I mean, it is very paranormal activity.
It's so crazy.
And
what was she responding to?
So if you come see me, I mean this. I follow politics for the jokes, but I don't. I always say, the one time I say, I go, I did vote for Obama. He's my guy. I voted for him 3 times. That's like the only thing I'll say, you know?
Yeah.
But I make fun of Biden. I made fun of Hillary. I made fun of Trump. I made fun of RFK. And I was making fun of everybody. And this woman just did not like that I made fun of Trump. And I don't know if they had just had a rally there or, you know, I don't know. But man,
She had
got
stormed the Capitol.
Brother, her Hulk medication kicked in.
In the middle of the set?
In the middle.
No. What
Did
she
they have
say?
to
What did
take
she
her
say?
out?
Snipers? I wish. No, they just, I sort of was like very patient and I just tried to be like, I don't understand what you're arguing about. And she was pretty drunk.
Oh.
And they always are.
Yeah.
This isn't happening in an AA meeting.
You got a nice quiet room. When you play AA meetings.
Yeah, dude, pretty respectful.
Yeah.
But she was just out of her shit. And here's the thing: I think if you do make fun of both sides, and also like the Trump stuff that I say, I'm not making fun of his policies.
Yeah.
You know, I talk about. I just do him, and I even say positive things. I think it's so easy for impressionists to like rip on these people. I'm like, but you're living in this moment, at least you're living on the back of this person's career.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't necessarily like Trump or hate Trump, but it's like, if I'm going to do Tom Hanks, even if I'm going to say something crazy, I love Tom Hanks.
Sure.
I celebrate Tom Hanks.
Sure.
A lot of the impressions that I do, Mark Wahlberg, Nicolas Cage is one of my idols, you know?
Yeah.
So to go up there and like, you know, you see people like sort of make fun of them, unless you really have like something passionate, I think it's a kind of a cheap shot. Because I think it's so easy. You guys all know who Seth Rogen is. What a piece of you know, it's like, it's so easy to go negative.
I agree.
And so politics aside, I always do impressions of people that I really, really enjoy. And so I also think it makes it easier because it's coming from a place of love, the jokes.
Is that what your special will be? A lot of impressions?
It isn't as many as I used to do.
Yeah.
I sort of sprinkle them in. Like I'll do a bit about like airlines or something. And then I'll be like, I felt like Jeff Goldblum and I'll do Jeff Goldblum. But I think I tend to like it better. It's better for me to come up with something that I think is clever that I'm able to weave in and out instead of, now I'll do like micro impressions. Like I'll just do like 3 in a row and then keep going. But to do sort of like, this is, you know, Denzel Washington eating a burger, you know, that's just not, I like the other, for me.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is more fun.
You lived in LA for 21 years.
21 years, yeah.
Do you have any, what's like your best LA story? Do you have anything, did you ever find yourself somewhere, any Diddy parties, anything?
I mean,
you weren't at the Diddy parties, were you?
I mean, is this being recorded? No, I have had some pretty, I think especially before cell phones, you know, you think.
That's what everybody says now.
Sure.
I have a lot of friends who are in their 20s. And I said, you guys, I'll see them like, are you guys going out? It'll be a Saturday night. I don't go out. And they're like, no. And they're like, we're going to play Call of Duty. Like, and someone said to me, they're like, yeah, nobody wants to go out anymore because nobody wants to be caught, filmed or seen doing this or whatever. And it's really,
it used to be such a smaller town.
Well, you told me a story. You can't tell it here, but Kita told me an amazing story about some Hollywood people and an amazing night that he had that probably wouldn't happen now.
What person? Do you remember?
You know.
I don't remember which story.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, that story.
He told me a wild story about some very, very big Hollywood people night that he had. And I was just like, wow. And that just wouldn't happen now.
I've been
with illicit drugs, and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, yes. I mean, but you're right. You even when they're like no phone policy, you see people with their phones. And so it's like, unless you're like locking them up like it's a Dave Chappelle show.
Yes.
You're like for a stand-up thing, shit is going to go not south, but it's like, if it does, I was at a party one time and this is a cool moment with cell phones actually, where I was at, I was very lucky and it was very sweet that I got invited to Sarah Silverman's birthday party.
Okay.
And we were on the rooftop of, I don't know if I think she lived there at the time. I don't know. And it was, and I can only tell this because he's told this story.
Sure.
And it was, it was everybody was there. It was the way that people think Hollywood is.
Yeah.
So everybody was sort of like a who's who, or like it was, and everybody was like not on their phone. And it was very polite and very cool. And there was a lot of fun stuff going on. And I just remember like, man, this is really awesome. And people are getting crazy drunk, but everyone's being respectful, you know?
Right.
And we're having a good time. And Stephen Merchant, who's the co-creator of The Office, if everybody knows him. There was a glass door that was closed, and he walked right through it.
Oh,
and glass went everywhere.
Wow!
And everybody,
big tall guy too. Big guy.
And he was, thank God, he was fine. He told us on Colbert. I believe it was Colbert. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And everybody, no one took out their phone. Everyone went to him to help him up. Like to pick him up to make sure, are you okay?
Yeah.
And then we cleaned up the glass, and then he got home okay, or whatever happened next. And then everyone went back to their life.
Right.
And it's like, but he was around friends.
Yeah.
Who are like, let's not make this thing that could have happened to literally any of us
right.
a fucking thing.
And
it wasn't like, oh, what? It was just like, oh, dude, it's the glass. It's, anybody could have fallen into it. Like, it wasn't like, and he wasn't like, like a crazy Muppet. Like, it was just like, oh, something happened. It was weird. Hopefully he's okay. Great.
Yeah.
And that was really cool.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of kindness that I think all the comics have like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. They're not going to whip out their phone.
But I remember a buddy of mine being in a bar. I think it was Mickey Rourke. And he was about to like beat the crap out of this guy.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend who was the GM at the time, who's a really good dear friend. He like went over, and I'm like watching him from across the room, like talk Mickey Rourke down from like beating the crap out of this other dude.
Who's your friend? Is he a big guy?
He's probably like our height. He's not like that big of a guy, but he's like the most, I always call him, he's like a therapy animal to celebrities.
Yeah.
Cause he
AA
really
guy?
de-escalates. Yeah.
Yeah,
like big time.
an AA guy.
He's just like, he can de-escalate. And I've seen him in a lot of weird situations like that. And at the time, he's now the GM of another place, but he was, I was like, wow, that was really impressive.
Wow. Yeah. Talking Mickey Rourke down.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, if he swings, everyone's taking out their phone.
Yeah. Apparently there's a Christmas party that like Michael Eisner has every year. And my friend went to it, and he said he was there, and someone walked up to him, and he's like, have you ever wanted to talk to Sylvester Stallone? And my friend, who's, not really big in the business or anything, he was like, yeah, I would love to talk to Sylvester Stallone. Who wouldn't? He was like, go talk to him. He's like, this is the party.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the party. You can just walk up to anybody. And so he was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And he brought him over, and then he just talked to Sylvester Stallone for like, 5-10 minutes.
And that's so
the best
because some of those parties you're with those people.
Yeah.
But you're like,
yeah, you feel shut down. You're like, I can't even fucking be here.
Or they are happy to be there, but not to talk to everybody.
Right.
Like it's not like a free pass where people think like, oh, but we're in the same room.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but like be respectful of people's time and energy.
There's a great thing in Curb Your Enthusiasm, the last Curb, where he was Larry was trying to get clearance from Conan. Did you see that?
No.
It was really funny. It was like Conan lives in Larry's neighborhood, and he asks Richard Lewis to get clearance, which is the ability just to walk up to Conan and say hi.
Right.
Yeah. And so Larry does, and Conan's like, you'd get clearance. Like, you need, I don't know, whatever.
No, but by the way, Michael Eisner was that clearance.
Yeah, he was clearance. Yeah.
He was he was like it was like on the list. He walked over. You need those introductions. Like, I've met a lot of cool people through Jamie Foxx, actually. And it's cool because he's been like, this is this guy.
Yeah.
And then like, when we'll be at a party or whatever, and then he'll walk away, and then I'll be like, great, now I can talk to this guy. And I never would have dreamed going up to
those are the best people, aren't they? Yeah.
Best people.
People that give like that.
Yeah. And it's and also because somebody with his reputation of just being the best, he's like, oh, if he, the guy, I'm always imagining that the other guy's like, if Jamie says this guy's okay, he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like such a nice,
right.
It's like nice. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been wanting to talk to this guy. What a cool.
Yeah.
And so we do. Yeah. But you're right. Before phone, I mean, the amount of stuff that I can't, I'm going through a Rolodex. I'm like, I couldn't even say that because it's like, it puts people in such compromising situations. But now,
what a shitty world we live in.
Actually, you know what this reminds me of?
Yeah.
So my last name is Kita. Matthew's my first name.
Yeah.
And Mascaro is my mom's maiden name. And but when I first moved to LA in the late 90s, people still had the white pages.
Yeah.
And my name Kita is almost it's like right next to Kiedis, which was Anthony's last name.
Kiedis, yeah.
I would get women calling me. I can't believe how stupid I was. I should have said yes. I had women calling my number all the time, like, "Hey, Anthony," and I'm like, "No, this isn't Anthony."
Oh wow.
And what was weird is we kind of knew each other in this small pocket in Hollywood because I was doing music at the time. But it was the craziest fucking thing because, like, yeah, it was pre-cell phone.
You were playing music with the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
No. I had a band.
And your band was in the same scene a little bit?
No, not the same scene. No.
But they came from Fairfax High, right?
We were in the Hollywood scene.
Yeah.
And so back then, again, it was like really, there was so much overlap back then.
It sounded like
it really was. Oh, what did it sound like?
No, it sounded like you're like that you changed your name. You know how people like change your name to sound like a celebrity?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't do that.
No, but that's you're like, I'm in a band. I'm Matthew Kiedis. You're like, oh, wait, sorry.
No.
Wait, what? Yeah. We're called the Blue Hot Chili Peppers. It's different. We're different.
Yeah, Kita Mascara is like that's a great
name.
Rock name.
It's a specific name.
Yeah, it feels like you and Perry Farrell hang out.
Yeah.
You know, no one's ever gonna.
Did you see Perry Farrell have the meltdown?
I did.
Yeah. And I mean, I love them, but
that was painful.
I mean,
you do a lot of drugs, and you know it's gonna affect your brain.
And to think that it was like, to think that Navarro was the
he handled it
one,
well. He handled it well.
It's like holy shit.
You think that Navarro was what?
To think that Navarro wasn't the one that caused.
Yeah.
That.
Why? Because he's the troublemaker usually?
Well, not that. I mean, from what I've understood over the years, he's
Dave Navarro. You mean the judge from the reality show Supernova?
Yeah, he can be troubling.
What did you say?
They did a reality show called Supernova where they put like bands together that were trying to bring NXX back. Yeah. It was such an early 2000s reference. Your audience is like, what the fuck is that guy talking about?
Wait, it was a show where they were trying to bring INXS back.
Yeah.
And they were putting Dave Navarro in the band.
I think
because Michael Hutchins was dead.
Yeah. It was going to be like a super group.
Right.
And they were looking for like, I think, a new lead singer.
Yeah.
And it was like INXS Supernova is what the band was called.
Uh-huh.
And he was going to do it. So they had a reality show when everything was a music reality show in the early 2000s.
After Idol took off,
Exactly. And it was like, and that was the one that I remember Dave Navarro. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was one of the judges.
We watched this show last night. My wife's Middle Eastern, so she's like, there's a Love Is Blind, but it's shot in Dubai with Middle Eastern people.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot, and it's great. It's called Love Is Blind, Habibi.
Wait, is it on Netflix?
It's on Netflix, but you have to watch it with
subtitles,
or they have the voice, so it's tracked. So it's great because it's like the producers found this fucking gold mine, which is you've got all these guys, you know, like Middle Eastern people, they're way more traditional than us.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Though even the ones now, the young people, they still carry those values. The men work, you know, the woman stays home. I provide for you. That's it. And so you've got 10 guys who are all good-looking Middle Eastern dudes, you know, but they're like, I'm going to work. And then you have the women that are saying that. They're like, yes, I want a man that's going to work for me, blah, 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 blah. But then they get together. And once they get together, you can see that the women are kind of like, well, wait a minute. Can I still go out with my friends? And the man's like, no, you can't go out with your friends. He's like, you can't do anything. And then, so that's when like all the shit starts, you know? And it's like really cool. It's like really traditional. And that just whole world's so interesting.
I think it's crazy, but I think a lot of the world is like that. Not just the Middle East. Because I just got back from Morocco.
Yes.
And it was like that a lot.
Yeah.
In the nightlife, like women were with men or they weren't. You just didn't see them.
Yeah.
It was very, so God bless America. And, what's funny is I wonder if something does well, like that, they're going to do it in every country.
Yeah.
My only fear is that, like, do you ever watch Love on the Spectrum?
No, I've never watched it.
Oh,
So great.
It's the
two
best.
autistic people in love.
Well, they're different. Sometimes they
There's
have
a
Down
group of them.
syndrome. They meet individuals, and I think they try to pair them up. And it's beautiful. Like you're gonna cry every time. There are so many. They're such fun, and I mean this with all the love. There are so many fun characters that they are.
Yeah.
And they're apologetic about certain things. Obviously, they're self-conscious, but they're so free in so many other ways. And it's just to watch them. You're so happy when they're happy, you know. And it started in Australia, and then they brought it to the U.S.
Right.
And I was like thinking, man, in some countries that will not work because they don't want those people.
Right.
Like, yikes. Like,
Right.
I do not want to see Love on the Spectrum, Dubai. There are none of them there.
I said that to my wife. I was like, yeah, like in Dubai. So we went to Dubai and
Oh, fun.
well, I went with my friends first, and one of the guys was gay, and he goes into Tinder, and like a message comes up, like basically like, don't be gay here, you know, you will be arrested. And so we were like, wow, that's like, so I was kind of like shitting my pants the whole time, and then I was saying to my wife, I was like, yeah, and if you like do drugs over there, like you go to jail, like if you steal, you go to jail for life, you know. And she was like, yes, and they have no crime. You know, like that's how she looks at it.
That's
you know?
how Asia, a lot of Asia is like that, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Southeast.
Yeah, no crime. It's crazy.
It's well, there's
and
the
it is
crazy thing
clean and it is safe.
There is crime. I'll tell you. There, like, let me tell you something. I've been involved in crime. No. I love Japan.
Yep.
And it's so clean over there. And a buddy of mine, white guy from California, moved out there to model, and he's tatted up, right?
Yeah.
And he said that he was approached by Yakuza, and they said, and they went up to him because he had
Is
tattoos.
Yakuza the police or the mafia?
The mafia.
The mafia. Okay.
And so, but you just don't see them. And same thing with the triad in Hong Kong. You just don't see them until it's too late.
Damn.
And so, but like going to Singapore, going to Hong Kong, going a lot of these places, you're like, dude, it's so clean. It's crazy.
What were you doing over there?
I was doing, when I first got to China, I was doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And
You're doing what?
yeah, because Two Broke Girls was the biggest comedy in the world for
Yes.
a very long time.
Yes.
It was the #1 show in China, and I did stand up in India too. Now India has a lot of crime, but and a lot of everything.
Yeah.
And but I was doing stand up in China.
Wow.
It was so fun, man. It was really, really beautiful. And
just you or the whole cast?
no,
or
just me.
just you.
Yeah, it was great. And then
Who booked that for you?
I knew some Americans who were Chinese Americans, and
Yeah.
one of them had hit me up through a friend. A buddy, Justin, was like, hey, would you ever consider doing international? Because you got to know the bookers over there.
Yeah.
I said 100%. Did a press day, was out there. They flew me out twice. Did a Domino's commercial.
Really?
Gross pizza. And it was like Chad's penis gun. It was like, what is this? And
That's so cool.
yeah, it was really fun.
Chad's penis gun.
But I like to travel. Like when we're on the show, and whenever I do a show, and I've been lucky enough to do, like you're very busy for like 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And you don't really see friends, you don't really see family, and for me, I would do stand up, which was like my way of sort of like maintaining a human interaction with people.
Yeah.
And then, but my weeks off, I would be like, I got to get out of here. And so we would have these breaks in the summer and at wintertime, and I would just go places
Wow.
just to like reset my brain.
Yeah. Is that the best life, sitcom life?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did 6 years on Broke Girls, right?
6 years on Broke Girls. And it was,
That was Whitney's show, right?
Whitney did it, and Michael Patrick King.
And Michael Patrick King.
And it was awesome. I mean, it was, that type of thing. I think part of it is the schedule is amazing.
Yeah.
And because we don't.
What's a typical day on a sitcom?
So we had a table read Wednesdays.
Yep.
So we'd come in. We were there very late, later than typically on a Tuesday night. Because I think in a good way, Michael Patrick King is a perfectionist, and you can't argue with success. Like I think, I know you look at people like him, Lorne Michaels, Chuck Lorre, there's a reason these people are successful.
Yeah.
And I think he has great taste. And so we would run things like a lot,
Wow.
even in front of a live audience.
Wow.
But you can't argue with the success of the show.
Right,
So
right.
and you think like, I know that you have long days, but it's like, come on, you're in a
Right.
fucking hit TV show, like whatever. So Wednesday we would get up late, we would do a table read, and because the show was really, I think it felt good that it was important at Warner Brothers.
Uh-huh.
The entire Warner Brothers and CBS, all the presidents, all the vice presidents were there at the table read.
Oh, wow.
So we'd have like 30, 40 people at these table reads.
Oh, wow.
And then, so you really had to bring your A game, because they were watching, the writers and the producers were watching the network and watching the studio.
See if they're laughing.
Yeah. And so if ever I had a person a friend would come guest star on the show, I'd like pull them aside and like, Kita, you have to kill it, because people would get fired after the table read if they didn't bring it. Wow. I was like, this is not a relax. You need to be as good as you were in the audition right now. And so we did those. We would come back. We would rehearse all day Thursday. We would rehearse Friday. And at the end of the days, we would have different groups of people come and watch a run through to see if it flowed. Uh-huh. We'd get rewrites over the weekend, have to sometimes memorize a whole new script. Wow. We would come back Monday, shoot all of the things that we couldn't do in front of a live audience, like the outdoor shot, or if there needed to be snow or a horse or whatever, a lot of stunts. And then we would come back, we would rehearse everything Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday afternoon we would shoot in front of a live audience. Wow. And we would do 3 of those in a row.
Did you ever become financially irresponsible when you were flying high on a big sitcom, or were you able to stay tethered?
I stayed tethered. I mean, I never really got too big into like Lamborghinis or Coke.
Not too big.
Not too big.
Just one Lambo.
It was cocaine white. No, I never really, can I be honest? Like, because you never know how long those are going to last. Yeah. And I think even when you think you're on a hit, it's like things get canceled or not renewed all the time for a million reasons. Yeah. Look at like the hits that Netflix has. And sometimes you go like, oh, they didn't renew that show. That was a huge show. So you just never know. And I think, I didn't really have any like crazy purchases. Like, I drove the same car. All 6 years. Great. And I lived in the same apartment all 6 years. And so, and I thought, squirrel it away. Right. Squirrel it away. Yeah. Because you could always tell when you would like start going, the one thing I did, I would go out more because I could never get into a club. Like, I mean, I never looked cool enough as a kid. Like, I just never could get into a club. I used to stand outside of Ledoux and White Lotus, and I was like, they would only let me in when the club was closing, and they thought I was there to clean the toilets. And so I remember like getting in. But I remember you'd go out and you would see people, and you'd be like, oh, that guy just got a show. Because you could just see it on him or her or whatever. And so I was like, don't be that guy.
Yeah, right. So you stopped going to clubs once you got famous.
Oh, no, I got clubs. I just got free drinks.
Oh, okay.
And then I was able to walk in and I'd be like, oh, the guy was like, oh, you can just walk in. And I remember like the first time having imposter syndrome, I was like, oh, no, I'm not with them. Like he let like 5 super hot chicks in and he was like, all right, go ahead. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not with them. And then he's like, no, it's cool. I know who you are. And I was like, yes, it is cool. Wow. Like, yeah. And that was like a weird moment.
Wow. All right. Well, we should wrap up.
Well, wait, before we wrap, what happened to your friend with the tattoos in Japan?
They were just making him aware that they were aware of him.
Well, what was wrong with them?
No, nothing. It's just like I said, you don't meet them until they were just curious
about his tattoos.
About what? Because you just don't see them in Japan.
Just who are you?
The people in Japan who have tattoos are mostly, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe your listeners.
My brother's an actor in Japan.
Does he have a bunch of tattoos?
No.
You just don't see that. You can't go to public bathhouses, which is the onsens, which is like a beautiful, wonderful like family thing that they do. It's all men on one side, women on another, and it's just very peaceful. You can't go if you have tattoos.
Oh, really?
I don't go to Japan.
No, I'm saying I know. I'm looking at your knuckles, and see, I knew it, bro. Look at this. Look at your knuckles. Show the camera. Blue hot chili peppers. And, yeah, I mean, you just listen, not that you have to worry about it, but it's like you just want to fly under the radar. And that's what my friend was, because he lived there. I mean, he was a living, working model until he got deported for drugs. True story. Oh. And, but it was like one of those.
So they were right when they profiled him?
I don't think that they knew. He was too small time. But by the way, you can't fuck with the cops. The cops knew about him. They said they were doing an investigation for 2 years.
Really?
They had to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt.
What?
I mean, if you think that they make sushi good, imagine how good their law enforcement is. I mean, it's like, come on, bro. They're more than just rice.
No,
which is what their slogan is.
And the same thing with their movie industry. Like my brother asked me for advice, and he told me like they don't have contracts. They're like, and it's all mobbed up. And I was like,
No, that's China.
This doesn't make any sense.
So the Triad funds a lot of Hong Kong's movies. So
What's a triad?
they're the mafia of Hong Kong,
Yeah.
and they are they fund them. Legend has it, I've never been to a shareholder meeting, but that they don't have. We have SAG-AFTRA here. Another privileged reason when people are like, I'm going to move out of here when somebody I don't like wins. I go, good luck. Let me help you pack, sweetheart. Because it's like, they're so restrictive. My friend Beth from the show did a film in China. It was an awesome film. It did very well.
Yeah.
She said they worked like 16, 17 hours a day. And there's they paid you. There's no like overtime. Those people are there until it's done. Oh, wow. So it's like, we are protected. I know people love to shit on all the things that are wrong with this silly country, but it's like this country,
people are protected.
They by the way,
in a way.
They're in a way. By the way, in every situation, people aren't protected. You could
Sure.
list in every situation how somebody fucked you over. But
You're right.
it's like in that country, she was like, she had a blast and she loves China. And she was just like, but we worked until it was done.
Wow.
And the stunts, that's why you watch Jackie Chan do all those old movies. He's doing all his own stunts.
Yeah.
It's like, they don't stunt people. And he said he would have to teach people stunts.
Really?
And it's like and you keep working through the pain. You have to. That's why I remember when he, like you say at the end, when they do the B-roll at the end of the movie, rolling the credit about all the times he was injured. You got to keep working.
Oh, wow.
Because that's the name of the game. So I thought a lot of times they just don't hire gaijin, outsiders.
Well, my brother's fluent in Japanese.
I had a lot of whiteys that were fluent in Japanese, and we could not catch a cab to save our lives.
Really? Wow.
So
no, my brother's like, it's crazy. He's on TV shows. He's on movies.
That's great.
Yeah.
Your brother
but he's
lives
been
where?
out there for like 8 years.
Where? Japan or China?
Japan.
Oh, really?
That's
Tokyo.
great.
Your brother's
Tokyo.
a working actor in Japan?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Does
It's
he
really
pl-
exciting.
Do you know how we at every sitcom have a black guy? Is he the
Mhm.
white guy?
He's the white guy. But the thing he's not the Japanese guy.
No, I just meant, is he like, they're like token white guy?
Yeah.
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 I knew it.
Because some people think Kita is Asian.
Well, when I was a kid,
yeah.
I always got that.
I think
from
Jonathan was
teachers.
just
They were
thinking
like-
that
they were
just
like,
now
"Are you
looking at
Wait a
it.
Japanese?"
minute. I was like, is it bright in here? Or are you squinting? Or are you
No,
just
they would
bringing out
ask
your
me.
heritage?
They'd be like, "Are you Japanese?" I'm like, half.
Yeah. Every
Wait,
now and then.
you do Alec Baldwin, right?
I did Alec Baldwin. Yeah.
I saw that in your credits.
I
I
did.
love Alec Baldwin.
I do too.
Yeah, he's great.
I did. I actually, weirdly enough, I did him on. I don't know if I've ever told this story. I did. So Boss Baby, they were doing the TV show.
Yeah.
And they auditioned sound-alikes for him. And when you do that, they're very, as they should be. When you do a voice match for something, if you're going to be like the lead of a series, they are really particular. You have to audition many times. You have to do it live. Because some people, they can only do it with a modulator. Like, there's voiceover acting is like the craziest thing. Because you have to like do it right 1,000 times, especially if you're going to match pitch for somebody.
Yeah.
And I remember auditioning, didn't get it. They hired a guy who could only do things that Alec Baldwin had already said. So he could match it perfectly if he could hear it, but he couldn't come up with his, but they're like, no, we're writing a brand new show. You know? So they unfortunately let that guy go. They re-auditioned everybody. I had to do another 5 pages. Then they met me and they brought me in to DreamWorks Studio in front of all the network execs in a room this small. And they were like, okay, can you like do it like this now? But he's like higher. Can you like, don't giving me brand new lines. And they're like, can you do them like this? And I was in there for like 2 hours.
Wow.
And then they were like, can you now send us something else? Like it took me like 6 to 8 months to audition for this. I got it. Wound up doing the whole first season. And then my agent called me at the end and they were like, they don't know where it came from. Because I talked to the producer, but from the tip top of DreamWorks, they're like, we can't have you do it anymore. And I was like, oh, how come? And they're like, that's it. There's no explanation, but thank you. We will pay you for the season. And they brought in a guy who sounds like, hey, I'm the boss baby.
Oh, it's completely
like,
different.
Completely. And I always wanted to meet Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
To be like, was it you?
That is why.
Yeah, no, of course. That's what I thought.
It's because of the shooting.
No, it was right. It was before that, but they just maybe they
shooting.
knew he was going to. No, I don't know. But I wonder because I really like Alec Baldwin, and so I wasn't trying.
I felt really bad for Alec Baldwin for that because I love 30 Rock. I think that's one of the best performances ever.
Jack Donaghy
on a TV show. And of course, the writing is great.
You felt bad about
I felt bad for him.
Thing?
I did feel bad for him.
I didn't.
You didn't? I did.
No,
I
think
it was I have this
flagrant.
problem. I have this problem where I feel bad for everybody. And so then, and I think that maybe comes off the wrong way, but I did. I felt bad
I thought
for
it
him.
was
Like it was an accident.
Yeah.
Although I did talk to an actor, and who had this point of view on it, which was when you get the gun, and you have it. You ask the guy to shoot it. You could shoot it many times as you want, 100 times. And my friend was like, "There's no way it should have happened."
So I did it at a sitcom.
Yeah,
I did not shot someone, but after I did a sitcom on Netflix that we shot in COVID called "Dad Stop Embarrassing Me" with David Allen Greer, Jamie Foxx, and myself.
Yeah.
And there was a scene where we're in a convenience store,
right?
And I play a cop.
Okay.
And so I have a gun on me at all times. And there's somebody trying to rob it, and I literally pull it out and I go, "Don't move," and I shoot the ceiling, and it comes out and hits me on the head and it drops me. And I remember this was pre-Baldwin, PB, and we were very, very careful about that gun.
Yeah.
And you never aim it at anyone, even if it's because a lot of times they're starter pistols. So it's like there's something that comes out, right?
Yeah.
It's like, or it comes out the
even a
side.
blank, yeah.
Yeah. Those are not to be trifled with. Like think about Brandon Lee in The Crow.
Yeah.
You know, I love how this podcast just turned into a gun safety video.
Well, the reason it pissed me off is because it's like, because I've produced films before, and it's like it comes down to you. If you're the producer and you're also the guy holding the gun, and the chain of custody and command was broken, I just thought he should have taken responsibility. And an actor that's done that many films, you cannot tell me you've never shot a gun before and never, like that should have never, ever happened.
But why do they even have a real gun? Why hasn't Hollywood come up with something that looks like a gun?
Sure. That's stupid. In the fact
Is that a dumb question?
And the fact that if he had pointed so if the shot was pointing at the camera, like your old Western shot where you're like the actor sitting there getting shot and the point of view of the actor's face.
Yeah.
They should have set the shot, rolled camera, and then moved people
away.
out.
Yeah.
What the fuck were the people? Why was the DP and the director literally looking down the barrel
Especially
of
if it's
a gun?
on digital, where you can go back and watch dailies. Like if it's on film, you don't know what you have until you get in the the editing room. But if it's like if you have digital and you could do playback and Video Village immediately, you have everyone watch from Video Village, and you just go do it again, keep handing him guns, whatever it is. Yeah, and
the reason it sucks too is because it's in New Mexico because they're trying to save money, non-union bullshit. Mm-hmm. If they had shot that in LA outside in Palmdale, that would have never happened because they would have had to have there's more regulation here. That happened because it was probably I'm just guessing.
Thank God they didn't shoot it in China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when they come on set, the arms guy comes on set and he goes, "I have a live firearm," and everyone, like the whole crew,
it's in a case.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
Leo.
showing you the gun now,
and they have to do it more now.
Yeah.
That will be a landmark case. People will never. And here's the thing: it's always generationally because Brandon Lee died.
Yeah,
Bruce Lee's son died on The Crow for a similar thing. Got shot with a blank and was dead. And so you think like, oh well, that'll never happen again. And it's like that happened in a Hollywood film, like a big budget, huge produced film. But it's like unfortunately, it sucks because you just need reminders because that happened in the 90s. So it's like, oh, those aren't our problems anymore. And I'm like, yes, history will repeat itself. That's why somebody goes out there and goes, I have a gun.
Were you nervous when you had to hold a gun on set?
I would be. I was always, thank God I shot it up. I'll tell you, because we were talking about it and the script was like, I'm never gonna have to point this at anybody. And the truth was like, if you're there, they would, because the camera can't tell the difference from the side, I'm literally a foot to your, to your right or to your left, excuse me. So that's how we angled it. But I was like, oh my God. And I was like, can't we just move it over? And they were awesome. We fixed the angle. So I was never, it was like this.
Mm.
And as long as I maintained in this plane, and I was a considerable distance from the people that I was aiming it at.
Mm.
So it
And
felt
what happens when you fire it? It's a blank?
Yeah, it was a blank. So it went, pfft. Yeah, I mean, it goes
It's
off.
still loud.
What is a blank?
It's the wadding, but
Yeah,
it's blocked. It's like, right. Is that
It's a cartridge without an
Without
actual
a shell,
bullet.
yeah.
It's a
But
cartridge
it's still
or without the bullet,
you
the
can-
shell without a bullet. I mean, yeah.
But you can still, like there's still gunpowder coming out. There's
Right.
still a wad coming out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff still coming out. And
the answer is there's too many bullet parts still coming out.
Yeah.
Just not the bullet.
well, and in the case of the Baldwin thing, that wasn't a blank. That was an actual live round.
Yeah, because they were shooting live rounds. That
And
was
the
the
only
problem.
and the reason that happened again, no regulation.
Yeah.
You're on some fucking indie, red state bullshit, and yeah. Anyway, that's my rant.
We know who Keita's voting
Did you
for.
did you see that this is what I didn't understand about the baby oil, and not to change the subject. But
I thought, this is turning into Jason just defending people. Here's the thing.
I'm not defending people.
No, I know. Of course, I'm kidding.
That's funny.
1,000
That's
things
so
of oil.
funny. That's exactly what it sounded like. No, but what I didn't understand about the baby oil is it's way more nefarious than it sounds. Did you guys know this?
Yeah.
Because it incapacitates people when they smell it.
Wait, what?
And you're covered in it and you can't move. You can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
I thought when the baby oil came out, I'm like, oh, that's funny. He has a kink for baby oil.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the
a rape
baby oil
drug.
incapacitates you.
Yeah.
Like apparently that's what like Brittany Murphy, she had traces of that when she died.
Wait, so you pass out?
Yeah. Or you become discombobulated or
What?
I had no idea it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that nefarious.
It's I mean,
fucking shit.
it's so funny. I'm like, I have Diddy in the Deadpool. That guy is not going to be around much longer.
Oh.
The people, just because you got to think of like everybody
I feel
who's
bad for
around him.
No, I'm
You
just
feel,
kidding.
no, I was going to say.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
And Hitler. I mean, I feel
Yeah,
bad for,
Hitler, I feel the worst
Oh my
for. So
God, dude.
So
was
what he
such a
went
great-
through.
Such a great painter. But that,
Writer.
no, it's like, man, I think no pun intended, this is the tip. Like we're about to find out a lot. And that's the thing. Here's the thing about being filmed and phones and stuff. Like there's good stuff that comes out of it because there's all these nefarious things that went on before that there was sort of no proof.
Yeah.
So there are positives
Right.
of having that device.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we should go. You are out. Where can we see you? You have a website. You have a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I'll link your YouTube channel below. Go check out Jonathan. He's hilarious.
Thank you.
So many impressions.
Killer stand up.
Killer stand-up. Great stand-up special coming soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
And where else? Do you have a podcast or anything?
I will say you're so great at interviewing and like you're so relaxed. I tried to do a podcast and I just didn't have as much fun as I like I enjoy being on podcasts so much.
Right.
But it was really hard because I was traveling so much doing stand-up.
Yeah.
Then to come back and like need to have it out by the deadline.
You don't
for
need
the
to do
company.
it. What do you need to do it for?
I'm here now.
You know, Seinfeld says no comedian should have a podcast.
Did he say that?
Yeah. He says, what are you doing having a podcast? You need every single minute to be coming up with jokes. I do the podcast to make money. But
Yeah.
but
Good.
you don't need.
Then I should be funnier if I don't have a podcast. This is I needed a podcast as an excuse why I'm not funny.
Yeah.
Well, I can't be funny. I have a podcast to worry about.
Yeah, but so you're right where you need to be.
I'm Jonathan Kite on Instagram and I just started a TikTok. So Jonathan
great.
Kite, and so I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get out there. I'm like acting and on tour, and I'll be doing. It's all up on my website, JonathanKiteComedy.com.
What do you have on your TikTok right now?
So the stuff that's doing well, funny enough, I'll do like those lip syncs that do really well,
Yep.
But the impressions are the thing that people watch. Even if I think I have a killer,
That's what I was gonna say.
because when I saw you at the Bourbon Room,
Yeah.
I thought that I had some pretty good crowd work moments in there when that woman was filming me, when I was like making a joke about white power and stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh, of course, this is the one show I'm getting filmed at. And like there was a lot of fun and we had a good back and forth. I put out that clip and it did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's frustrating for me because once I get known for the impressions, even like an Oleg thing, I put out a Two Broke Girls thing, didn't do nearly as well as the impressions do.
Right.
Because they're so
Are
consumable.
you doing the impressions from the stage or at your house?
I haven't done the house yet.
Because have you ever seen Frank Caliendo's TikTok?
I love him.
It's great.
I'm doing a show with him in.
You are?
And we do a holiday show together in Arizona every year. Check it
Yeah.
out. It'll be on my. Oh no, I think it's sold out. But anyway, yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, anyways, that's great. And but maybe just at your house doing.
He's just
them.
in the closet.
he's just at his desk, and he'll teach you. He'll
He's
be
so
like,
good.
here's John C. Reilly. It's a little bit of this and it's a little bit of that, and
I
then he
know.
dials it in, and you're like, damn, that's John C. Reilly.
He's so great.
He's good.
But my thing is like I'm trying because when you had asked me before, like if I do all impressions or how much impressions I'm going to have on the show, I think that the jokes are good enough and stand on their own.
Sure.
That like I do a mix. But I think, for something that's consumable and how quick it needs to be on TikTok, like you got to grab them right away.
Yeah.
It's like, unless my setup is just like unreal,
Right.
I'm not known for that in the internet space, in the social space.
Well, you'd be surprised. Stuff will catch on.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it just
You
started.
just have to do it every day.
Every day.
Yeah. All right. Go check out Jonathan. Jonathan, thank you for being here.
Thank
You're
you, brother.
amazing.
Thanks, man.
Great podcast. Kita, thank you. Bye, guys. We'll
Thanks,
see you next
John.
time.